They say love makes you blind. But what if that blindness isn't an accident? What if every moment you thought was fate was actually a carefully constructed illusion? Think about it. You meet someone new. They say all the right things. They know your favorite music, share your goals, laugh at your jokes, and make you feel like no one ever has. You tell yourself, this is it. This is the one. It feels like a movie, like destiny itself finally brought you the perfect person. But here's the chilling question. What if it's not destiny at all? What if it's design? A psychological strategy crafted to hook you before you even realize what's happening. Because behind that smile, behind those sweet words, may be someone who doesn't want to love you. They want to control you. That's the side of relationships most people never talk about. The dark side. A side where love is not about connection, but about power. Where your emotions aren't cherished, but exploited. And the scariest part? It doesn't just happen in toxic relationships you hear about on the news. It happens quietly, subtly, in everyday lives. To people just like you. To people who thought they finally found happiness. It starts small. A compliment that feels too perfect. A moment of doubt brushed off with a laugh. A sudden silence that leaves you desperate for their attention. One by one, these moments chip away at your sense of reality. Until one day, you don't even recognize yourself. You look in the mirror and wonder, when did I stop being me? When did I start living for them? That's not love. That's manipulation. And it has a name. Dark psychology. Dark psychology is the use of psychological tactics to control, exploit, and dominate someone, often without them even realizing it. And in relationships, it can feel like you're trapped in a game where the rules keep changing, and no matter how hard you try, you can't win. In this video, I'm exposing the 4 most dangerous dark psychology tricks used in relationships, the ones that leave you hooked, confused, and questioning your own reality. Because the truth is, once you recognize the game, you'll never be played again. Every great trap starts the same way, with bait. In relationships, that bait is love, charm, and attention. But what if I told you that what feels like love could actually be the opening move in a dangerous psychological game? Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on 2 of the most powerful manipulation tactics used in relationships: the illusion of the perfect partner and emotional gaslighting. These tricks don't just break hearts, they break identities. And once you understand them, you'll never look at love the same way again. It begins like a fairy tale. You meet someone, and everything just clicks. They share your sense of humor, your taste in music, your dreams for the future. They don't just understand you. They seem to complete you. You tell your friends, "I've finally found my soulmate." Every conversation feels magical. Every moment feels right. It's almost too good to be true. And that's because it is. What you're experiencing isn't destiny. It's design. Manipulators use a tactic called mirroring. They study you closely, your words, your values, your interests, and then reflect them back at you. It feels like instant chemistry, but it's actually calculated mimicry. Why does it work so well? Because as humans, we're hardwired to trust people who are similar to us. When someone seems to share our worldview, our guard drops. We stop questioning. We let them in. Picture this. Sarah meets Jake at a coffee shop. Within days, Jake claims he loves the same books Sarah reads, the same movies she watches, even the same future plans she dreams about. She feels seen in a way no one else has ever made her feel. But Sarah doesn't know that Jake is tailoring his personality to hers, strategically shaping himself into the perfect partner. He's building an illusion so strong that when cracks eventually appear, she'll ignore them. And that's the danger. Once you believe you found the one, you'll forgive things you'd never forgive in anyone else. You'll excuse red flags, you'll cling to that first version of them, the perfect version, long after it's gone. The illusion of the perfect partner isn't love. It's a hook. And once it's in, getting free feels impossible. Once you're hooked, the game changes. The sweetness fades, the mirroring stops, and a new tactic begins: gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation. It's the process of making you doubt your own reality until you no longer trust your own thoughts, feelings, or memories. At first, it's subtle. They deny things you're sure they said. They brush off your concerns with lines like, "You're imagining things," or "You're too sensitive." It feels small, almost harmless. But over time, it escalates. Imagine this. You remember them promising to spend the weekend with you. But when Saturday comes and they cancel, you bring it up. Instead of admitting it, they smirk and say, "I never said that. You're making stuff up again." You feel a flash of anger, but also confusion. Did you misremember? Are you being unfair? That tiny seed of doubt is exactly what they want. With every denial, every twisted conversation, that seed grows. Slowly, you stop trusting your own memory. You start second-guessing your feelings. And eventually, you rely on their version of reality more than your own. Here's the terrifying part. Gaslighting doesn't just confuse you in the moment. It rewires your brain over time. Neuroscience shows that repeated doubt and invalidation can actually change the way you process memories and emotions. You begin to silence yourself before you even speak. You think, maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I really am the problem. And that's exactly the point. Because once you stop trusting yourself, they don't have to control you. You'll control yourself. You'll censor your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own needs, just to keep the peace. Sarah, from our earlier example, starts noticing inconsistencies in Jake's stories. When she brings them up, Jake laughs. "You're paranoid. You always imagine drama." At first, she argues back. But after weeks of this, Sarah gives up. She convinces herself she's just being emotional. And little by little, Jake replaces her reality with his. That's gaslighting. It's not about winning an argument. It's about breaking down your sense of self until you're dependent on theirs. And once that happens, you're trapped in a cage you can't even see. Once they've shaken your confidence, they play the most addictive game of all: push and pull. One day, they drown you in affection. Good morning texts, constant attention, endless warmth. You feel alive, wanted, needed. Then, without warning, they vanish. Calls unanswered, messages ignored, no affection, just cold silence. You panic. What did I do wrong? Your mind races, your stomach knots. Then, right when you're at your breaking point, they come back, sweet, loving, and warm again. That relief you feel? That's the hook. Psychologists compare it to gambling. A slot machine doesn't reward you every time. You win just enough to keep playing, and before you know it, you're addicted. That's exactly what happens here. The unpredictability keeps you chasing. You focus on the highs, not the lows. You beg for the love you used to get, instead of asking why it disappeared in the first place. And that's the real trick. They've made you fight to keep them. Love isn't supposed to feel like a prize you have to earn. It's supposed to feel like home. The final trick is the one that keeps you chained, turning love into debt. Remember the over-the-top romance at the beginning? The flowers, the gifts, the constant affection? At the time, it felt amazing. But now, those gestures become weapons. Suddenly, you hear, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" They use the memory of their early kindness as leverage to silence you. They turn love into obligation. You feel guilty for setting boundaries, selfish for saying no, ungrateful for wanting more. This is what psychologists call coercive control. It's not about love, it's about power. Every time you give in, you reinforce the invisible debt they've convinced you exists. And little by little, your sense of independence, your sense of worth, disappears. Genuine love doesn't come with strings attached. It doesn't keep score. The moment your relationship feels like a transaction, you're no longer in love. You're in a system of control. And the deeper you sink, the harder it becomes to break free. Individually, these tricks might look like small red flags, but together, they form a cycle that traps thousands of people every single day. Step 1. They mirror you to hook you. Step 2. They gaslight you to weaken your reality. Step 3. They push and pull to make you addicted. Step 4. They turn love into debt so you'll never leave. Hook, confuse, condition, control. That's the playbook of dark psychology in relationships. And if you're not careful, it can happen to anyone. So how do you escape? It starts with awareness. Ask yourself these questions. Do I feel free in this relationship, or do I feel trapped? Do I trust my own judgment, or do I rely on theirs? Do I feel loved, or do I feel controlled? The answers might be hard to face, but they could save your sanity. Here's the truth. Manipulative people thrive in the shadows. They thrive when you doubt yourself, when you stay silent, when you choose to ignore the signs. But the moment you shine a light on their tactics, their power begins to crumble. And once you recognize the game, you can finally stop playing it. If this video gave you chills, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with a friend who might need this, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden world of dark psychology. Remember, love is not supposed to feel like fear. Real love doesn't manipulate, confuse, or control. It gives you peace. And the next time someone tries to play these tricks on you, you'll see through the mask. Because once you know the rules of dark psychology, you'll never be played again.